Hi guys, have you ever played League of Legends? Because I haven't, but I'm a huge fan of Arcane the series and I was feeling the need to comment Season 2 Act 1, so here I am. However, if you're more interested in Nahida than Arcane, just know that there's gonna be text on screen commenting, like what I'm doing in the gameplay. But I'm gonna be talking about Arcane with spoilers, so of course, if you don't wanna get spoiled, just do not watch this video. But yeah, I have a lot of things to say, so let's just jump into it. By the way, it's kind of funny that I'm recording this before watching Act 2, but the video is gonna come out on Sunday, so by the time most people will have already seen Act 2. So yeah, I don't know how this commentary will age, but anyways. I wanted to start talking about the Jace and Victor situation, because, after the explosion, Jace saved Victor thanks to the hex score, but then Victor doesn't align with that methodology because he believes that the hex score should be destroyed, and Jace had already promised to do so, but he hadn't, and Victor is also feeling guilty for Sky's death, because she died because of their investigation, when the main purpose of all of that was to help people, to cure illnesses, save people, and not killing them. So even though they were already set on different paths in Season 1, their partnership just comes to an end here. And Victor's phrase, the one in which he says, "Our paths diverged long ago, it was a fiction that held us together," hits so hard because in Season 1 you could see how he was looking at Jace's development with sad eyes, he didn't like what Jace was doing, but still, they were friends, they were partners, and he still believed in him, I guess, in the end. But this, paired with his own sense of guilt towards Sky, was probably his last straw. And after going their separate ways, Victor finds out that he can now cure people from the shimmer effects and enters his, I guess, Jesus Christ arc. I've seen a lot of memes about that, and I guess it has something to do with his role in the game. But I don't know much about it. The only thing that I'm concerned about, because I feel like, we haven't really gotten a lot of information on this on Act 1, is whether Victor is seeing Sky all the time because he feels guilty that she died due to, his project, and she had the same dreams too, that's why she was working there as well. And maybe by curing people, he feels like he's honoring her memory or something. So is it that, or is the hex core manipulating him via that? Is the hex core using his grief and the guilt to manipulate him or not? Is it good, is it bad? I don't really know where I stand in terms of the hex core. I guess it's more dangerous than anything, but yeah, I don't know, I have my questions there about Victor. But yeah, then on Jace's part, after being left alone by Victor, he starts working with Echo and Heimerdinger because they have found out that Echo's tree is sick, and the pattern of that sickness is the same as the hex cores. So in order to save the tree, they have this breaking into the lab scene, which was hilarious, by the way, and I love also the dynamic of the three of them. And they start investigating the matter together. They ultimately discover that the tree is being poisoned by the Hex laboratories in Piltover, and that's why, the pattern on the tree's leaves was so similar to the Hex cores. And again, I don't know how this is gonna develop in the next arcs, but it is very intriguing, and I guess it's gonna be bigger than it may look right now. I don't know, I think that everything is gonna converge at some point. But yeah, I don't know, I'll have to wait for, more information. Then on to Ambessa and by extension Mel. I wanted to talk about this because Ambessa has been a very interesting character. In Season 1, I basically despised her. I didn't really understand her. And I hated that she had basically gone after Mel, even after, she had to give up her family and everything and start anew just because she didn't align with her family's or maybe her mother's values, let's say. Like, she doesn't agree with war, and ever since she's arrived at Piltover's council, she's been trying not to get a war started because a lot of people seem to be very inclined to start a war like at any moment. So I really hated that Ambessa, after, making her life miserable back home, followed her into her new home and tried to start a war just, again, but this time at Piltover. And it took me a moment to realize why, why is she so set on starting a war between Piltover and Zon? Like, what's in it for her, And well, what is in it for her is the hex stick. Like, if she has issues with Noxus, if she has issues with the Black Rose, whom I don't really know who they are exactly, like an organization or something, but they're clearly powerful and it was them. Sorry, I've been interrupted, but basically, they are very powerful. They seem to, have powers and all that. And Ambessa seems to be like a good warrior, but definitely doesn't have any kind of power like that. So the hex stick could basically turn the tables around and make her win their war or their whatever thing is going on. Oh yeah, I think that I was saying before being interrupted that was the real reason why Ambessa's son and also, Mel's brother was killed. But of course, with Mel being on the council, she's not gonna allow hextech weapons being made just like that. Like, she wants the hextech for like innovation, for progress, not for war. So Ambessa tries to manipulate Sallow, who's very, very set on attacking Zon, to start that war and to get hextech weapons made. Ambessa was also the one who orchestrated the Memorial's attack. Because, Piltover was only mad, or well, maybe the council was only mad at Jinx for the attack towards the council, but she needs Piltover to despise Zon. So she basically orchestrated that attack, manipulating a woman who had lost her kid, basically. That appeared on season 1. However, as we will know, she ended up changing her mind about Sallow, because he was a member of the council, but he wasn't really taken that seriously. He wasn't really, a big name there. She wasn't the kind of leader that she needed for her cause, let's call it like that. And there are 2 lines that I believe were what made Ambessa change her mind. One of them was the one in which Caitlyn says, "I am a decorated officer, leader of House Karaman. Address me with respect or keep your mouth shut." Ambessa was there and she probably saw her determination, the fact that she's grieving her mother's death, and that she is using Hexcore. The only reason why Caitlyn is not a perfect fit for Ambessa's plan is that her mission includes only tracking Jinx and anyone related to Silco or the Shimmer industry, let's say. So Ambessa might have changed her mind here, but if she didn't, it was definitely when Sallow said, "It's not the girl, it's the name, it bewitches people." Like, maybe she had thought the same, like maybe I don't need her specifically. Like, of course, she has certain qualities that Ambessa could really benefit off of, but if she finds the way to get her on her side, she will also gain the name. The Karaman name is a very big name in Piltover and will grant her the leader that she's looking for. Also, Caitlyn is almost on her same path, She only needs to convince her to go after all of Zon and not just Jinx. Now I'm getting ahead of myself, but we all know that at the end of episode 3, the Grey ends up being released in Piltover instead of Zon. So Ambessa uses that attack to try to convince Piltover people that Zon is the enemy and that they need to attack. But the one that I wish she wouldn't have been targeting, basically, because I'm sure that she was actually trying to convince Caitlyn through all of that, was, yeah, Caitlyn. And she also used the opportunity to blame Amara's, what's her name? Yeah, Amara's death on the Zonites, because it was actually her who killed her. But she cleaned her name, convinced Caitlyn, and I mean, on Caitlyn's side, like, we're gonna talk about her right now, but she was surprised at the beginning, but then she accepted because I guess she thinks that that way she's finally going to get her revenge. But I wonder whether she understands what Ambesa's actually doing or if she's just being manipulated by her, thanks to, her craving state and her thirst for revenge. I don't know, it's such a horror scene, like I felt shivers throughout all of it. But we'll talk about Kate right now, just to finish with Ambessa and Mel. Just as all of this was happening, Mel was being kidnapped by the Black Rose, and she had just discovered about all of that, like who Amara was, and the fact that the Black Rose had been the ones to actually kill her brother. But yeah, she was kidnapped too. I don't know what's gonna happen to her. I'm worried. And honestly, free Mel Medarda. Like, she literally left her family because she was against war, built a new life for herself, and then her mother just came after her with the same desire of starting a war. And she even got her in the middle of her own issues with the Black Rose. Like, literally just free her. Like, poor girl. Okay, so now on to Kate, Vi, and Jinx, my three favorite characters. Basically, they have a lot going on by themselves, within their relationships. It's all very, very complex, and I don't really know where to start. As I've just said, Caitlyn's first mission, let's call it like that, is just, to track Jinx, kill her, avenge her mother, and destroy everything related to her, right? Because she was directly working for Silco, so she wants to destroy all of that, including Shimmer. But there were always signs leading to us realizing that she was ultimately gonna be convinced by Ambessa. Like, by the point it happened, it wasn't that surprising anymore, because there was like this rage and grief development in which she herself acknowledged her own hatred towards the Zonites. She said that she suddenly understood how easy it was to hate them. She called them animals, just like I believe Sallow had said after the Memorial's attack. And even though her focus remains on Jinx, we can also see her kind of lose her mind because of that. During their operation in Zon, we see her losing her mind every time that she feels like she's closer to Jinx. And okay, there's been a lot of discourse over this, and I'm of course going to share my own opinion and perception of the matter. But of course, that doesn't have to mean that I'm right. It's just how I understood the situation. So why did Kate use the Grey? The Grey was said to be this very toxic gas that had been produced due to the Undercity's industrialization, and it was causing mutations and diseases and ultimately deaths of a lot of innocent people. So the Kiramans, more specifically Caitlyn's mother, designed or decided to make a ventilation system that would trap the gas, the Grey, and would help the Zonites. Now, when Caitlyn uses the Kiraman key to access all of this information, I don't think she was ignoring the fact that her mother said that the Undercity deserved to breathe. I think that she saw it as a motive to use it back to them. Like, her mother decided to help them, and she got killed in return. That's how she saw it. And it, of course, wasn't like that, because it was just one person, the one who killed her. And also, the Zonites that attacked her memorial had nothing to do with the rest of Zonites. But to her, using the grave... Sorry, the Grey! Oh my god, I'm being interrupted all the time, so my mind is not really working right. But for Caitlyn, it was probably some kind of poetic justice to avenge her mother by using the Grey against the Selenites, you know? Except she just, she was just pursuing her own revenge desire. And well, for the people who wonder why did Vi agree to that, because she still trusts Kate despite of all, despite of seeing that she's not in her best moment, seeing that she's grieving and saying kind of scary things. I guess she still understands her and believes that she cares for people, So if they're only going after Jinx and anyone who's loyal to Silco and the Shimmer industry, even if Caitlyn's kind of out of her mind, at least, a little bit, she still believes in her in the end. I mean, for Vi to accept the badge was not an easy thing to do. The enforcers represent everything that she hates, and she only made an exception with Kate because she realized that she was not as she thought she would be, and the same thing happened with, Caitlyn towards Vi. She'd always been living in like her own perfect bubble, being from an important family from Piltover, unaware of how the Undercity actually is, thinking that they're all probably just criminals and such, and actually meeting Vi literally in prison, probably gave her, the idea that wasn't right about her too. But when they both get to know each other, they realize that things are not how they think they are. So for Caitlyn, the enforcers are, of course, good, like they represent something good, even though they have been corrupted many times. But for Vi, from Vi's perspective, it's very different. They all represent a system that oppresses Zonites, and Caitlyn is the exception for her. So of course she didn't accept at first, but she ended up doing it. She ended up giving up, a little part of her morals, I'd say, in trust of Caitlyn. Also, I wonder if Vi regretted not taking the badge at the memorial, because if she'd been wearing the uniform, she wouldn't have been stopped from trying to stop the one who attacked Mel. So, she probably thought that she could be the exception too, just like Maddie said, like, I'm glad to see there's still some of the good ones. So Vi is always trusting Kate and giving up so much constantly for her. And I'm just gonna get this out of the way now, but this is kind of a love triangle, except it's different to like the romantic ones, because we have Caitlyn on one side, and then on the other we have Jinx, who's Vi's sister. So Vi is basically in the middle, and for both Kate and Jinx, she has to choose a side. Like, she can't be on both sides at the same time. And despite of all, we can see that Kate is worried about her. Like, she even asks her if she's ready to fight her sister and if she's ready to see her ultimately die, because she's going full force against her. Like, Caitlyn, if she has the shot, she's gonna take it. And Vi reassures her because she tells her to take that shot. Like, she knows that's what Caitlyn wants and she thinks that she deserves it. She also believes that there's nothing really left of her sister on Jinx. And yeah, when Kate stopped Vi from going in, she looked like she wanted to say something, but she didn't. And honestly, I would have loved to hear that. But yeah, even before that, the makeout scene, which was basically a win. I can't believe that happened, and I'm so happy about it, even though it lasted for like 10 minutes. But let's not focus on that right now. Before all of that, they were talking, and Vi was seriously concerned about Kate at this point, because she had been, acting weird ever since everything started, basically, and she'd been nothing more than understanding towards her, but she has some things to say now, because she sees that Caitlyn is kind of losing herself, and she's already having to deal with the fact that the whole world has changed while she was in jail. And her little sister is now like this wanted criminal, and she can't just see Caitlyn change in towards that direction too. So she says that phrase, everyone in my life has changed, promise me you won't change. And Caitlyn says, I won't. And oh my god, like, just. And the moment, even if we probably didn't believe her entirely, it was very beautiful and very sad at the same time to see. But yeah, right after that, there's this whole, battle fight scene. And honestly, Jinx making a Kate Vi sex joke wasn't on my bingo card, but here we are. Oh, and also during Vi versus Jinx fight, there was a column with a drawing of them that, got destroyed into pieces, and it was very symbolic and very sad. Another symbolic thing was that at the entrance of where the gray is stored, there's Jana, who basically is a protector of sun, who is able to control the winds, and being there at the entrance where the gray is kind of poetic in a way. But yeah, there's this fight, and Vi finally realizes that there's still some humanity inside of Jinx. When she says the phrase, I'm ready, I'm glad it's you, had to be you, Vi realizes that her little sister basically wants to die and is happy that her older sister is killing her, which is very tragic and sad. And then Aisha appears and gets in the way, and she probably sees herself and Powder when they were younger, and she sees that Jinx is worried about her, and she sees the humanity in her, but Caitlyn's still blinded by her rage and her thirst of vengeance. So she shoots at them, takes, Jinx's middle finger, I believe it was. She even shoots at Vi, and she wanted to shoot at the child, but of course Vi stopped her. And Caitlyn completely misunderstood that. Because in her mind, Vi had to choose a side. She was either with her or with Jinx, But for Vi, there was a child in the way that's not the Caitlyn she knows. And, yeah, she wanted to save her sister as well, actually. Like, I don't think she didn't care about her anymore because she had just realized that she was still in there. But Vi wasn't betraying her. She wasn't choosing Jinx's side, and Caitlyn just understood it that way. Then Savika sets the Grey free, so the gas basically drags both Kate and Vi away. And Vi is all the time protecting her, and she's still so gentle with her despite of all. But Caitlyn, same Caitlyn who gave up her weapon in season 1 for a Vi that she had just met, can't let go of her weapon because she's still obsessed with the fact that she had the shot again. And honestly, Caitlyn despises Jinx, but they're a lot more similar than she will agree to admit. There are a lot of parallelism between them, and Vi was so right to ask her why was she the one acting like Jinx, like she had the nerve to tell Vi that, of course you would choose her, it's her blood in your veins. I was trying to convince myself that you were different, but you're not. When actually, Vi could say exactly the same thing about Caitlyn. Like, I thought that, you were different to topsiders, enforcers, but you're not. And still, despite of all, Vi is so gentle with her, like the way she talks to her, the way she holds her, like she's so self-aware of her strength, and even if they're in the middle of an argument, she doesn't want to hurt her. But Kate is blinded. She's absolutely blinded by her own thirst of revenge and ends up abandoning her there, even, after her being nothing more than gentle, understanding, helping, after giving up so much of her morals and of, she was giving up her sister for her. Like, it's literally crazy the amount of things that Vi had given up for her at that point, But Kate, she's in an all or nothing situation. Like, you're either all in with me or you're against me. And I hope she realizes soon that she really fucked up there, because she hurt Vi in a way that I don't think a lot more people could have, and I was devastated. I wanted to talk a lot about Jinx, Civica, and Aisha as well, but I don't really have the time, so I'll just say that I loved that found family mechanic and the very memorable scenes that it gave us, like for example the battle or fight against Smeech. And I don't know how this is gonna age, but I'm gonna say it. I see that everyone is set on Jinx dying, and she might, but I really hope she doesn't because I absolutely love her, and I think that Vi should get a fucking rest and should get a chance to have her girlfriend and her sister once and for all. And as a very little last note, I want to comment on Maddie. She's very suspicious. At first, I thought that she was representing the naivety of a police officer or soldier who only executes orders without critical thinking. But I'm wondering if she's something else. I don't know, I could honestly go either way about her, but we'll see. And on to the other guy who I believe is called Loris. I have many questions about him, but I think he's good because she wasn't fine with the martial law at all and she left the place the moment they started talking about that. But still, like, who is he? How did he end up being an enforcer? Was he an enforcer all along? And how did he even end up on the special patrol, on Caitlyn's special patrol? I don't know, so many questions, but anyways, I'm so excited about Act 2, can't wait to see it. And I might comment it as well, so see you on the next video, bye!